Hello, my Vibe Tribe. Welcome to the Daily Vibe. It's Thursday. Happy Thursday. Friday Eve. Aloha Friday Eve. Friday Junior. All the things. All the things, right? Haven't looked, but I got my mindful message card. Haven't looked, but ooh, it's a purple one. So I wonder what that one has to say. The Rebel deck. I thought for giggles we could do this one too. But yeah. Oh, wow. There's one right at the top. Master of Chill. Slow down what you don't finish today. Oh, slow down what you don't... Oh, slow down. Slow down. See? It's just telling me right there. Slow down. What you don't finish today will still be there tomorrow. Breathe and relax. So I don't know who needs that, but whoever you are, there you go. But let's see. It's things to think on Thursday. And first and foremost, just a few things before I get started. Sorry, I just never know if that's going to explode at me or not. So sorry. I think I saw Sam. Oh, I think I saw Sammy. Good morning, Sammy. I love that. She calls me Cookie. My one friend calls me Chicken. The other one calls me Cookie. I love it. I love all these nicknames I get. So first and foremost, yesterday, I don't know why. I think I was trying to be funny. And let's face it, when I try to be funny, it doesn't work. So it just has to come from me naturally, or it's so not organic. So for that, I apologize. Although sibling said that, she's like, well, I didn't notice because I thought you were funny. But, I think I was trying too hard. You know, you see things and you want to emulate it, and you just, I don't know. I have no excuse. So I apologize, for trying to be funny yesterday. All the other times it's just me being stupid. But, you know, and also, just a quick note on judgment. Okay. This morning I woke up to a message on Facebook that kind of kicked me in the gut a bit. Good morning, baby sibling. And, they were indirectly judging me. I think, you know, sometimes we go on social media and we see so much stuff that we just disagree with. And so we decide we're going to post on the one person who we're pretty sure will not get mad at us. And I don't know if it's a subconscious thing or a conscious thing. I have learned to just scroll by them if I don't agree with it, because that's just me. However, I was not happy with being judged, but then I turned around and made it a completely incorrect assessment of the person. So, I mean, it wasn't anything big. It was just, it honestly, neither one of it was really big. But I guess my point is be careful when you tell people not to judge you, because you might actually turn around and just do it yourself. And I did. And, I assumed they were of a particular influence, which they were not. And by that, I mean political affiliations. And I was wrong, and I was incorrect, and I owned it. I said, I'm so sorry. That was my fault. But also, guys, I know sometimes we want to get on our soapbox. This is why when I get on my soapbox, a lot of times I'm just like, you know what? I'm sorry if it offends anyone. I'm sorry if it does this, that, or the other to anyone, because I know my opinion may not be everybody else's. But there's a difference between being somebody who shares an opinion and being passive aggressive about it. You know, oh, are you jealous of this? Not a good look on you. Or I guess some people are just never happy. For some people, it's just not good enough. And I get it. And it didn't hurt my feelings. They apologized for hurting my feelings. It didn't hurt my feelings. I was literally scratching my head like, I just posted something. It's like, it's my opinion. It's what I feel. You know, and I know a lot of times people want to climb onto something. And this is somebody I haven't talked to in a very long time. So it's kind of sad that our first conversation had to be something like that, you know, but I mean, all is fine. You know, we're all lovey-dovey by the end. But yeah, I mean, in fact, it's funny because I used to work down the street from this, one of these friends, and I actually met her through older sibling. But I think sometimes we get so wound up in ourselves that we forget that other people might not have the same opinion as us, you know, or we get so upset that we just said, well, I'm going to comment on this one and I don't give a shit what anybody says. But be careful with that, because sometimes you can start a shitstorm that doesn't need to be started. I mean, the vibe is about promoting positivity. It's about, trying to fill this world back up with a very, very, very large amount of love and positivity and good vibes that it is missing. And I know, there's so many people like me out there doing this, trying to put out the good stuff. I mean, there are celebrities out there putting out the good stuff. I am, I'm lucky I have the very small but lovely and wonderful following that I have. In fact, I'm going to steal a line from Mom, from the show Mom, that Allison Janney had. It was my favorite, because every time I think about the Daily Vibe, and all of you guys who watch Daily, come on live and watch this, the daughter says to her something, and I can't remember what she said, but she's all, I may have had a very small, fervent cult following. So I like to think I have a very small, wonderful cult following. So thank you, my dear people, my tribe. But, and the ones that do watch it daily later. But I want to remind people, let's just kind of take a step back, take a deep breath. If you see something you don't like that somebody's posted, sometimes they post it just to get into fights with people. I mean, it's not even an opinion. I'm not saying this about anyone in particular. I'm just saying I know people that I see them post constantly, and there's some of them I'm not friends with anymore. They unfriended me just because it's like, but I don't understand. And, it's like, okay, well, if you want to fight, but you can't fight with facts, then that's not my fault, because I'm not trying to fight. I'm just like sharing my own opinion. But that's one of the reasons I stopped doing that, because I don't want to flood my Facebook with a bunch of crap. And, maybe somebody disagreed with me on that one, and that's fine. That's fine. It was one thing I posted out of how many enlightening posts and all the stuff that I put on Facebook. And even my aunt the other day, she was very sweet. She commented on the long post that I did over the weekend and told me, a lot of the things that you have posted have really helped me. And that's the point. It's to keep sharing these things, and it's to keep, drawing people towards this, sense of well-being that we all have. It's to get away from the anger. I mean, here's the, my dad's always worried that we're going to be like Demolition Man, where everybody's like, oh, happy, happy, joy, joy. Personally, I don't think we'll ever be there. There's always something, that we get emotional about, and I think in a weird way, the movie Equilibrium actually kind of covers that in a very strange, it's like totally like, I can't remember, they actually, I think they called it, oh God, I don't want to say it wrong, so I don't want to say it because I don't want to say the wrong thing, but there's a certain type of, it's a certain form of gunfighting, okay, it's an action movie, but, which I originally watched. I'm going to spoiler alert you guys on this one, because this movie's like 18 years old. I saw that it was, it was a Christian Bale, Sean Bean movie. I thought, oh, hey, this will be pretty good. Yeah, Sean Bean dies in the first 10 minutes. Fucking A, this guy. Can he not stay alive in a movie? I mean, he makes fun of himself, okay? I still have my shirt, my hashtag shirt. I found it the other day. Don't kill Sean Bean. And I got it at Comic-Con for one of his panels, which surprisingly actually lived in that show. But, it's still one of my favorite actors, but it kills me. But no, they had to suppress people's feelings in order to control them. I don't think we'll ever get there, because there's too many of us that like to rebel against the status quo. There's too many of us that like to rebel against the norm. And, it's good to have healthy debates with one another. It's how we learn things. But debating is listening to each other. Fighting is when you just come out there and tell people, hey, this is what you have to believe. When I do the Daily Vibe, it's your choice to take what you want and to move forward with it. Okay, if you want to move forward with it, or if you want to toss it into the trash, that's your choice. I'm not forcing you to believe anything that I say. I'm just hoping that it will touch a part of you, that when you come across a situation during your day, you think, oh, you know what? Maybe I should react to this a little bit differently. I'm not particularly proud of the way I reacted. I had to delete my comment like 4 times because it's like, no, that's just mean. It's like, how do I make this shorter and make a point? And, in the time of doing that, my original post had already been read, so they're apologizing for that. But so my actual post in the end may have just been missed, and that's fine. But, I just, it it was not a good moment for me either. That's all I'm trying to say. I own up to my mistakes, and, I'm not perfect. I am not perfect by any stretch of the imagination. Doing the daily vibe does, that's why I say I've reached a level of funlightenment, okay? Not exactly enlightenment, but definitely funlightenment. It's like, you got to keep it light. So anyways, now that I'm jumping off my soapbox, things to think on Thursday. So I wrote some things down, and I couldn't remember. Sibling asked me this morning, what's today's subject? I'm like, I don't remember. I just wrote it down on Sunday, and that was it. But apparently it goes with today. You'd be surprised what length people will go to not to face what's real and painful inside of them. I will come back to that. We cannot change anything unless we accept it. Carl Jung. That's a really good quote. We cannot change anything unless we accept it. And embrace the glorious mess that you are. I constantly do that on the daily vibe. I am constantly embracing the glorious mess that I am. And actually, that's my quote. I remember saying to somebody, they're all like, well, how are you doing today? And I'm like, I'm embracing the glorious mess that I am. And, or fabulous. It's either fabulous or glorious mess that I am. But that's what makes us fun, right? That's what makes us human. It's what makes us not a Stepford Village person. We have to learn to make fun of ourselves. Okay. I was telling Sibling a story this morning about, God, this happened over 20 something years ago when Planet Hollywood first opened. And it actually came up because I didn't realize that they still existed. No offense. But I was telling her about this. My cousin's girlfriend at the time she fell down. Okay. And people do that. She wasn't drunk. I mean, we were at a place where you could drink and we had a few drinks, but she wasn't drunk. It's just certain type of furniture and certain type of flooring do not go together, and you would think that would have hit my mind when she fell, but she fell and then she was just, oh, I hurt my tailbone and blah, blah, blah. And I was trying not to laugh because this is one of those people that will just, sadly, just need something to be upset about or, need something to complain about. And so then back in the day, I swear I could be like, I'm still like a kid, but I would lean forward in my chairs, kind of balancing on the front 2 legs. Well, a wood chair on polished wood flooring or laminated wood flooring or whatever that stuff was on the ground, they do not go together. And I went, and I actually fell on my tailbone. And it was funny because I'm like, oh, my tailbone. I was just being a dick. It's like, oh, my tailbone hurts. But it was nice, though, because there was a table of guys behind me that picked me up. And my boyfriend at the time was not too happy, but he didn't bother to move. He just kind of sat there and told me to get up. I forgot to tell you that part, Sibling. I know you're watching. But yeah, he actually told me, he's like, well, are you going to get up? And I'm like, I'm trying. But I was laughing so hard I could not move. And so these 2 guys behind me, they get up from their table. There was actually 3 of them. And they just grab my elbows and just lift me back to my feet. And the third one puts my chair under me. And he was beside himself. He's just like, excuse me, that's my girlfriend. And the guy's all, I couldn't tell because you didn't bother to move to help her. They started laughing more. But this is why I'm a glorious mess. I was telling Sibling, I said, a lot of people will tell stories and embellish things to make it sound better. Her and I were talking about how we just don't need to do that. Even my dad on Friday when I had breakfast with him, he's all like, he was telling his friend that came with him, he's like, yeah, he's all stuff with this, he's all stuff with Shelly, it's like right out of the movies. Like people write stuff like that and it happens to her and it's just like, yeah. My life is one big, weird, glorious comedy. So anyways, but yeah, so I apologize again for trying to be funny yesterday. I'm sorry if I'm all over the place today. I do not know what's wrong with me. I uncovered a very, very deep rooted subconscious weed. And I call it a weed because, weeds can be beautiful. Dandelions are weeds, wildflowers, some wildflowers are weeds. But this is one of those that just kind of wrap around things and break things. And it was so rooted deep within me that I didn't know how to get it out. So baby sibling and I were talking yesterday, and thanks to her, I uncovered something. I uncovered a very, very deep subconscious, weed. And I think that's where you'd be surprised what length people will go to not to face what's real and painful inside of them. It was real and it was painful, and it was so filled with shame and guilt that I think I just didn't want to uncover it. But last night I journaled, and she actually asked me, she's like, do you journal on the computer or in your journal? I love writing in journals, but when I do my 117-day projects, I do it on the computer because I find that I'm honest. Sometimes when I'm typing, it's like I just go into a trance, and I just, everything just comes spilling out. And I'll read back over things and be like, whoa, okay, But that was something I had to get out. That was something, I don't want to trigger alert anyone, so I'm not going to talk about what I wrote because, I want to really focus on staying on the positive end of this. But I was surprised at the length I went to not to face what was real and painful inside of me. And there were a lot of different things. And this has been like a weird week of healing. It's like all the stuff is just coming out of me. Again, it's like that magician's handkerchief I told you about, where you just keep pulling until you're like, oh my God, am I ever going to reach the end? And I thought I had. Remember, I think last week I said I thought I had, but I hadn't. And so now I don't know if I ever will reach the end, but I finally decided that these things are still a part of me. It's just how I react to them and how I deal with them. If you have something that is real and painful inside of you, if there's still so much anger attached to it, sometimes that's when we need to just kind of take a step back, take a deep breath, and let go. It's hard. It's hard to let go because sometimes you are so attached to these feelings that you don't realize they're such a big part of you. They make up the makeup of you. But, I guess sometimes you just, I don't know. I'm kind of having a moment here with you guys. I think sometimes personally, I just want so much to be liked that I forget to just be me. And I think that was the whole thing about yesterday, trying to be funny and feeling like I fell flat on my ass. And, sibling didn't notice. I don't know if anybody even noticed, but I did. And I thought, you know what, just be yourself. There's nobody better to be than you. And that goes for anybody. Don't try to emulate somebody else. Just be yourself. If there's things that they have that you want, then work on that. Work on your goals to make those things happen. Do vision boards if that's your thing. Do gratitude if that's your thing. And if it's not your thing, it should be your thing, because gratitude is an amazing thing. More people should have please, thank yous in their arsenal of, being polite. But that's a story for another day. But yeah, and I made it through a day yesterday without emotional eating. I don't script these. I just write notes because if I don't, I'll forget. And I'm really trying not to cover the same subjects like we normally do. I know sometimes we will refer back to them. I am sorry, guys. I don't know why my face is so itchy today. But I really want to try to, even though we do tap back into other thoughts that we've already discussed and whatnot, I do like to come up with new things, or try to come up with new things. And even though, again, they might tie into one another, because, it's kind of hard to do these every single Monday through Friday and not kind of run into the same things. But I do come up with different situations, and I do remember different memories. But I wrote "Embrace the Glorious Mess That You Are" down in my notebook on Sunday. And funny thing is, it is, with the exception of yesterday, Monday, Tuesday, and Friday, I was bouncing those subjects back and forth, but this is the one I didn't change. And I really feel it's because I did uncover something so deep in myself yesterday that really, really, really needed to be taken care of and gotten rid of. And I did that. And I'm grateful that I did that, because it's a healing point and it's a place to move on. But that's just it. When you start to heal, don't keep going back. Okay? It's like catching a fish, saying, okay, I'm going to let you go, but you don't take them off the hook. You just keep throwing them back in the water and catching it, right? It's like you want this poor thing to go free because he's not big enough to keep. And so you definitely cannot have him for dinner. But sorry, it's terrible. Not a big seafood fan. But I really do speak in metaphors, don't I? I don't even know where that one came from, but it's exactly what's hitting my head. It is like pulling up a fish saying, oh, it's too small, but hey, thanks for making me feel good about myself so that I could catch something. I'm going to put you back in the water now. But again, you don't unhook him. You just keep catching the same fish over and over again. At what point do you set it free and move on to another spot? Or move on, period, in your life. You can't keep holding on to the same thing if you want to move forward. You have to let go. Now, just as a side note, because I know there were people who will watch this down the road, when it comes to grieving, you don't move on, you move forward. So you're not letting go. You're just learning how to, those are two separate subjects. Letting go is kind of moving on, but you move forward. And I know that some people are thinking, well, what's the difference between moving forward and moving on? When we refer to things as moving on, we're like, you know what? This happened. Let it go. It's done with. Leave it in your past. When we move forward, we're moving forward with the scars of what caused us this pain. Whether it's grieving, whether it's trauma, whether it's something, some weird event that happened in your life, anything that has hurt you, that has caused some kind of trigger in your life, that has caused some kind of trauma in your life. We all have something, one or the other. Even it could be when you break up with somebody, right? You're just all like, oh, but that's moving on. Now, if you're breaking up with someone that you've been with for a long time, or it was just this completely just cosmic, passionate thing you were in, you are going to probably move on with some scars because it's something that happened in your past. But learn from those scars. Take those scars, move forward with it. Take those scars and you know what? Do what the Japanese do with those bowls that, get broken. They fill it with gold because it's a reminder of what they've accomplished. It's a reminder of how far they come and how beautiful and painful that experience was. That experience may have broken them, but when they filled it with gold, they reminded, hey, it was a beautiful time in my life, and now it's something that I will remember as being one of the cracks in the makeup of myself. So in which case they could be like scars. You will probably move on with scars. When it comes to grieving, I've talked about Mom and Sissy, even Brian. You move on with the scars, but you either let those scars embarrass you or make you feel bad or where you want to hide them, or you just say, you know what, this was a part of my life. I'm grateful that I've learned something from it. I'm grateful that, like for me, I really take my health seriously now because, things could have been missed and things were missed when it came to my mom. So it taught me different things, but it also taught me that I have had this strength all my life, that there has been this part of me that I never acknowledged because I hid behind my mom. I hid behind Sissy. I've even hidden behind sibling and baby sibling, and maybe even my dad, because they always knew how to make things better, but I had to learn how to make things better myself. And, sometimes baby sibling and I will have these deep, deep conversations where it's just, she is like the gardener. She and older sibling are like the gardeners of my life. And they go around the corner and they find all these little weeds and they find all these weird things that need to be pulled. And not the beautiful weeds. The beautiful weeds, that's what we grow from. But the ones that strangle the pipes, the ones that just kind of make it so hard that even the pretty weeds in the yard are afraid of them because they're just destructive. So, like Carl Jung says, we cannot change anything unless we accept it. I accepted something. I talked to an older sibling this morning about it. I had no tears. I had no real emotion behind it when I talked to her about it. And I thought, wow, it was something I needed to get rid of. It is something I healed during my journal posts. And I got a few, I saw a few things on social media that would just kind of hit me in the face and were like, wow, talk about validation of moving in the right direction. Okay, so again, and this is from Unknown. I don't know who wrote this, but you'd be surprised what length people will go to not to face what's real and painful inside of them. Sometimes what's real and painful inside of us is why we lash out at other people. And some people will think, oh, well, that's just how they are. When people complain all the time, my cousin's ex-girlfriend, well, my cousin's girlfriend at the time when we were at the restaurant where we both fell on the floor, we both handled it two separate ways. Normally, I would be upset, but at that point, I'd finally learned how to laugh at myself and not be so serious, because I was very serious growing up. I was 17, my dad called me an 80-year-old woman, because I was so serious all the time. I was just cranky and serious, but I had things going on in my life. So sometimes when people have these things going on and they're just cranky and it's not normal for them, maybe there's something in them causing that they may not even know about. It could be very, very subconsciously rooted. I pulled that strangly weed yesterday or last night while journaling, and I feel different today. The way I reacted in that post, and I actually reacted pretty calmly, but I did pass some judgment that I shouldn't have judged. And like I said, it was more along the lines of just, well, I know you think this way and all these other people think like you, and I was incorrect. They think opposite of me. But that's okay, because that's what friendship is, right? You make nice and you move forward. That's why I don't post political stuff, because it causes too much drama. And it's not drama that I need. It's not drama that's worth it. God, you guys, I'm so sorry. My face is so itchy. It feels like someone just has a feather just doing this to me over my face. It's weird. But anyways, yeah. So let's just get to the mindful messages. I know I've been all over the board today, but it's just normal. I have no excuse. It's normal. But yeah, so just embrace the glorious mess that you are. And you know what? If any of you do have these things that are subconscious, that you find that make you feel guilty or make you feel ashamed, from my own personal experience, it's not your fault. If someone made you feel ashamed of yourself, or if you have certain feelings that come up that make you feel ashamed or make you feel guilty, and it was caused by somebody else, it's not your fault. Is it painful? Yeah. Do you want to let it go and just make it go away? Yeah. But again, it's not your fault. And you have to remember that. Find somebody that you can talk to. Find professional help if you need to. There's no shame in that. And that goes the same for men. I follow Kelly Rudy on Instagram and Twitter, and he's a former goalie. He played for the Kings many years ago, and he suffered from depression, or suffers from depression. And his daughter and her husband, his daughter and his son-in-law started a company, and I love it because I think it's called No More Bad Days. So, and he models the shirts for them, but I like the fact that he's out there talking about men and mental health. Lots of men don't want to admit it. Lots of women don't either. People in general just don't want to, but there's something about being that vulnerable that some people just can't do. And I don't want to say it's just men, but he was actually talking about the other day about how a lot of men don't talk about their mental health because, there's this certain standard that we hold people up to. And, that's why we have to end the stigma. That's why we have to break the stigma and stop it, because people need help. And we're so busy judging everybody and saying, oh, you're in therapy. It's like, yeah, and I had a coworker once where it's like, well, if you guys I said, do you guys need anything else for the day? Because I got to go. And they're like, oh, where are you going? I'm like, I'm going to therapy. And the first thing I thought was, oh, well, what did you hurt? Did you hurt your shoulder again? I'm like, no. And they're all, well, what did you hurt? I'm all, my brain is messed up. I said, I hurt my brain. And they're all, you hurt your brain? They make therapy for that? I'm like, yeah, it's called a psychiatrist or a therapist. And mine was actually a therapist. But, and they just kind of like, and they're like, oh, I'm sorry. I'm like, I'm not. I said, she's helping me get better. I said, she's not massaging my shoulder. She's massaging my brain. So with her help and basically letting me take the lead on healing myself, a good therapist will guide you. They will allow you to figure out what's wrong and going on in your head so that you can heal it. But, and I'm sorry, I don't mean to turn this all into this soapbox speech about going to therapy and stuff, but I know a lot of people will always say, I'm not ready for it. I don't want it. I don't think I need it. I never thought I needed it. And, I'm not saying you have to do it. That's your choice. But I'm just saying that if you feel ashamed because you're worried about somebody else judging you, what do I always say? It's not your business what other people think of you. You have to worry about you. You have to put you first. Okay? So, we got this card again. The Edge of Greatness. I feel like every time I leap and heal something, I get this card. So this, that card might be for me. So, yeah, because we've had that a million times. So let's see what else we can get. Someone help me put some juju on this cards to get the one that everybody needs to see today. So, sorry about that, guys. I didn't think it was for me, but I guess it is. So, whoop, there it is. Food. That one might also be for me. All right. Come on. There it is. Opportunities for growth. Didn't we just have this one yesterday? Yeah, we did. Maybe we're just not meant to have this deck today. Okay, so let's just go back to this one. Who needs something fun? Maybe that's what it is. It's been so deep and heavy in this vibe. But it is things to think on Thursday. And I hope that I've left you with a lot of things to think on today, because it's important to remember that, we're, even if you believe in past lives, this is the only life you are living in this body. Okay, this is your life to make things happen and make things count and make things work for you. We can wallow and we can sit around and do nothing all day, and we can sit around and just, stare at the TV box all day, or we can make opportunities happen. We can be on the precipice of greatness, and I'm actually going to read this one again just because I like it. But the universe is opening doors for me, bringing opportunities my way. I don't crumble at the edge of greatness. I take the opportunities that come and walk through the doors with confidence. That is what you need to do. You need to walk through the doors of confidence, or with confidence, whether it's the door of healing, the door of opportunity, the door of, stepping out of my comfort zone and doing things that I never thought I would do. I'm terrible at stepping out of my comfort zone and doing things I don't want to do. Baby sibling and I were talking about that yesterday. I'm very shy. I mean, I'm not so sure if I am now because we haven't been able to people that often, but I do force myself to say hi to people just because I think that will help get me out of my shell. And sometimes people just look like they need a friendly hi, how are you? But, and sibling's really good at that. And an older sibling is shy too. So we got issues. But, I'm going to work on not being that way anymore. It's hard. I mean, it's hard for me to talk to people, but I know. I know older or baby sibling is probably like, I know what you're talking about. Even older sibling might be. I have a very difficult time talking to men. I know. And it's just because I get so shy. And, I was reading something the other day that says, how come all of the jerky guys always get the girls, right? And they're all because the jerky guys don't realize they're jerks and they're the ones that ask them out. Whereas, the rest of us are sitting around like, well, how come that guy's not looking at me? Or how come he's looking at me, but he's not saying anything to me? And, we have no confidence because we're so worried about what other people are going to think about us, or if they're just going to be like, sorry, can you go away, please? Because I have no business. I have more important business than talking to you. And I think that's what we do. That's the wall we put up because we're afraid of rejection. We're afraid of being judged. So Let's make it a point today to reach past the edge of greatness. You know, nothing ventured, nothing gained. Okay, so you could be missing opportunities because you're afraid to knock on that door. You know, if they're not your people, then they're not your people. So just move on to the next person, because you never know what the opportunity is going to bring. It's like that scene in Singing in the Rain, which, to be honest with you, I have no idea. It was such a random scene in that movie, but I love it, right? It's like the big Gene Kelly dance number, and I love Gene Kelly. But he just keeps knocking until somebody answers and says, you know what, I'll give you a shot. So there you go. Okay, Marie, baby sibling, this card is for Rainier, the kitty cat. Slytherin, ambitious, shrewd, cunning, strong leaders, achievement-oriented, self-preservation, pride, determination, and resourcefulness. Pride can be a very dangerous thing. So if somebody out there is letting their pride get in the way and you are doing things to self-preserve, don't. Because if you're a Harry Potter fan, we all know how we feel about Slytherin. They're naughty. You know, maybe not so much Professor Snape. But, I mean, come on, it's Alan Rickman. Who can hate Alan Rickman? But in the books, it is not Alan Rickman. It is just Severus Snape. But actually, it turned out to be not so bad, right? And not all Slytherin are bad. But we just think of the antagonists from the books and the movies who were Slytherin. But, you know, there's nothing wrong with being ambitious. There's nothing wrong with being shrewd. Be careful if you're being cunning, because cunning will bite you in the ass. You know, there's nothing wrong with being a strong leader. But don't be a dictator. If you want to lead, you have to listen, right? Leaders listen. They don't argue with you. They don't put you down. They don't sit there and say you're stupid or block you on Twitter or whatever. They listen. Whether it's something they want to hear or not, a good leader listens. Okay? Achievement-oriented. Capricorns are achievement-oriented. I'm not a Slytherin. I am a Hufflepuff, because I'm delightfully nice and awkward. And determination and resourcefulness. That's kind of the edge of greatness, right? It's not a surprise then that this card is green. But yeah, just be determined, be resourceful. Don't give up on yourself. Don't sell yourself short. Too many people sell themselves short. Okay, the Rebel deck. Dollar signs. Whoops. Well, I made it. Make it rain, baby. Make it rain. Let's take all the cards. Make it rain. So, you know, that's being shrewd. That's being determined. And that's being resourceful. Brings you the dollar signs. Now I'm just being stupid. So anyways, I hope everybody has a wonderful, wonderful day. Thank you for hanging in there. I know today was just all over the board. The last couple of weeks have been all over the board. At some point, I hope my brain settles down. But until it does, you know, this is just how it is. It's like I said, if the daily vibe did not go sideways, it would not be the daily vibe. So just, I guess the best thing I can end this with is be kind to yourself. Give yourself a chance. If there's things that need to be healed, pull it up and heal it. Burying it does nothing good for you. All it does is come back out and slap you in the face and then hide again. You know? And you can't catch it. You can't catch it until you trap it. And the only way to trap it is to dig deep, go in, and heal it. Okay? Then you can set it free. So I hope everybody has a wonderful, wonderful day. I will talk to everybody tomorrow on Glow with the Flow Friday. Okay? See you then, and thank you so much for watching.